At Kroger, we believe fresh means holding our produce to a higher standard. That's why we do up to a 27-point inspection on our produce. Like for citrus, we check for things like scarring and sunburn. Yep, oranges can sunburn, and we'll make sure you never see it. In fact, we only allow the best oranges, lemons, and grapefruits to reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh for everyone, we believe the juice is worth the squeeze. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everybody.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk.
Yeah.
My name's Shorter Waters. And this week, I'm your chunk.
Yeah. That's good. I was hoping for that.
Very.
I'm Doge, and
The wine legacy is more than hunks and molar.
I'm so glad that's back. You said chunks, right?
He said hunk. He did say hunk.
I don't know. What did I say?
Interesting. I'm Carter, and Saul, what's your interest in it, Mr. Wine? I want to borrow it for spachunking.
Okay, well, Doge is attempting to
Retcon.
what's it called? Stolen valor. He's trying to steal the valor of the hunk title from who it actually belongs to. Who does it belong to?
Well, it belongs to me.
No.
Huh?
And that's
That's not what we
because
said.
I have done myself the great honor of being married to a kind soul who is braving the coming winter storm to buy food for our puppy.
That's wonderful.
And I'm just really proud of myself for that and all the work I put into getting to know Jess. And then finally, I mean, if you think about it, I'm the one that asked her to marry me. So it's like, I don't know that I think she should share the spotlight for this hunk.
Yeah.
It's very telling.
because
It's very telling of a lot of the rest of your relationship, actually.
Well, I mean, she's driving my car right now to go get food for the dog that I said, yeah, I also want to get him. So it's like,
That makes sense.
I don't know. I played a big part in it, I think.
You sure did.
I'm probably center stage and she's somewhere to the distant right. As far as who's the hunk for today.
Sure.
We
I
have
disagree.
been waiting our entire podcast to get to the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you've been waiting for me to be the hunk.
No, I've been waiting
was
for
like, that
Doge to
means
stop talking
it's here.
for once.
Yeah. That actually probably is pretty accurate.
We've been waiting so long. We have practiced patience because we heard a long time ago that there was a new Batman coming. And
My
we've
dog,
been-
the Batman was announced in October of 2014.
Yeah. So we've been putting it off, and now here we are. Finally, the payoff. We get to talk about Christopher Nolan's Batman Dark Knight trilogy. I'm personally am very, very excited about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all are, and we're gonna start with the first one. Seems like as good a place as any. And this is part of our continuing, ongoing Batman series.
Batman.
The beginning of the, I would call it darker half of the series. And the first movie that we will discuss today, and the only one we will discuss today, is of course called Batman Begins. Dojosaurus Rex, take it away.
I hope this synopsis doesn't stink.
Sorry, your mic cut out. I'm sure you thought it was funny.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to?
You called me Dojosaurus Rex. I said, I hope this one
will be cool.
this synopsis doesn't stink.
Sorry, it cut out. I keep not hearing it. Whatever it is,
Extink? That is extinky.
dude. You're just in and out.
This week's synopsis was written by IMDb user Dark Horizons.
Amazing.
Ooh. 1 second. Sorry. My wife is asking. She's running errands. She said, I'm headed to Walmart. Do you also want me to go to another store? Yes, of course I do. Yes, if you don't mind. And that's a small reason why I'm the hunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this why?
because he gave her the option of minding.
Hey, it's 2022, baby.
You're allowed to mind.
Dark Horizons writes, as a boy, a young Bruce Wayne watched in horror as his millionaire parents were slain in front of his eyes. A trauma which led him to become obsessed with revenge. But his chance is cruelly taken away from him by fate. After disappearing to the capital E East, where he seeks counsel with the dangerous but honorable ninja cult leader known as Ra's al Ghul, he returns to his now decaying Gotham City, overrun by organized crime and dangerous individuals manipulating the system, while the company he inherited is slowly being pulled out from under him. The discovery of a cave under his mansion and a prototype armored suit leads him to take on a new persona, one which will strike fear into the hearts of men who do wrong. He becomes Batman. In the new guise.
Oh, so this is more like the novelization of the movie.
Sure.
Batman.
In the new guise and with the help of rising cop Jim Gordon, Batman sets out to take down the various nefarious schemes in motion by individuals such as Mafia Don Falcone, the twisted doctor/drug dealer Jonathan the Scarecrow Crane.
Let's head to ads.
A mysterious third party that is quite familiar with Wayne and waiting to strike when the time is right.
Ask me how I know Doge didn't vet this synopsis before he chose it.
I chose it solely based on the username.
Yeah.
Because Dark Horizons is pretty intimidating.
Various nefarious.
Dots to make it longer.
Various nefarious.
That feels
Very
really
nefarious.
good.
That internal rhyme is very good.
That feels really nice.
Yeah.
The absolute nards on this man, Christopher Nolan,
For real.
to come in hot off the tail of Batman and Robin and to say, no, not this one.
Not quite hot off.
That's not how it
8
do.
years. But yeah,
That's like basically the day after.
that's true.
It is so different, so unique at the time that it came out. It's my favorite vibe of Batman movies.
Yeah.
My super pump. Here we are.
Yeah,
I don't
Ooh,
love it this
I
early.
already.
Is the first 3 minutes of this movie. Here's what I wrote. Within the first 3 minutes, Bruce Wayne is already more layered, ruthless, capable, and motivated than we have seen him in 4
Since
whole
Clooney.
movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Since Clooney, you booger. He is like,
I don't know. Hey, I don't know that I'll ever recover from that.
it's our start. And I think Nolan does this a lot. And of course, we had our entire series on Nolan.
Yeah. Was that last year? That was 2 years ago.
You don't know these days. I have no idea.
What is a year anymore?
What is a year anymore? He kind of throws you into a world, I think. Just from the very beginning, doesn't necessarily explain anything. Even think back to Memento, one of his first big films. You really don't, you have to figure out what's going on. And so for him to wait so long to don the costume.
Yep.
Like this was like, hey, the point here is that this is a character. Batman is attractive narratively because he has layers. And we start
Shrek.
like just, it's so good. The beginning
so
of this
good.
movie, I just forgot how fast paced it starts and just what's at stake from the very beginning.
Yeah. It's been a minute since I've watched this movie.
Same.
I was realizing that while I was watching it. Like, wow, I forgot that all this was in it.
I have watched both of the other two more recently than Batman Begins. I would say 2 years ago, I watched Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, skipped Batman Begins because I was like, I don't want to watch it. I was wrong, by the way. I should have watched it.
Yeah.
This is a very good Batman movie.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
And it's a very
that's
good
the thing.
Batman movie.
That's a difference too. And that is, we talk about the influence that, each of these directors has had from Burton to Schumacher to Nolan. Nolan kind of has a cinematic influence from here on out on just being like, yo, by the way, your lead that's been campy for a while, people will respect if they're serious. I don't know if y'all saw that trivia, but like it influenced the Bond rework that would happen like a year or two later.
Really?
Like so Casino Royale with Daniel Craig comes out like a year and a half after this because early screenings of this kind of lit that spark of like, oh, wait, okay, we can do a rework and possibly make it even more attractive, more popular than it was in the past. Very good.
This is certainly less cartoony. Gotham feels more real. There's a lot of that to it, but
there's an underground railroad in Gotham, so it's kind of like, is Gotham in America? Is it? I guess America is a place in the DC comic books. I mean, yeah,
it definitely is.
Yeah, it definitely is in America. Read a book.
Read a book,
dude.
There is, just as far as world building flavor goes, this movie has more than all 4 of the last movies combined.
Yeah.
And I want to give
character driven.
Yes. Yeah. And I'd like to focus on one character first. We'll work our way through a lot because there's a lot to focus on.
Okay.
But there's a handful of characters in the Dark Knight trilogy that appear in all 3 movies. One of them is Cillian Murphy's Jonathan Crane. And he is...
I forgot he's in the others.
Only a little bit, but he is in all 3. Because he is
Nolan
that
movie?
chilling. He's in a lot of the Nolan movies.
He's not in Memento, I don't think. He is chilling. And Nolan was fascinated with these ice blue eyes.
Yeah.
of Murphy. So they were always trying to find those opportunities to have him take his glasses off. And why not?
Yeah.
He's in red. He's like in a movie about eyes. You know what I'm saying? Red eye. It's the same.
That's a good point. It should have been called Blue Eyes. Really missed opportunity there.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Yeah, they're clearly blue.
Really missed
If you look closely, I think that's the first trivia on that movie probably. If you look closely, his eyes are actually blue.
Not red.
Peaky Blinders?
Nice.
Peaky Blinders?
Peaky Blind Eyes.
And Earth. It's something about Earth.
Real eyes, real Cillian Murphy eyes. I just think Cillian Murphy is good kind of always. And this is
I've
the
never
first
been
thing I had
disappointed to
ever
have him.
seen him in as a young man. And
I remember
I was
he
just
the first
fascinated with him from this point on. I mean, I just think that there's something about him. He's kind of got that Barry Keoghan thing that we talked about in the Eternals where it's like there is this innate intensity to the man that makes every word out of his mouth. I feel like it's like, I should rewind and double check just to make sure I got every.
I need to make sure I'm really internalizing that.
Yeah, right.
He's kind of uniquely in the same tree as like Willem Dafoe to me.
Sure.
Of like this, just how your face is structurally.
Yeah.
Lends itself to it. You're using your tools well. Yeah, fascinating. Does a great job.
He really does. And he is in good company here. We don't typically do like this type of structure, but I'd like to format our first half of this episode if it's okay. The story is a very Batman story, but I'd like to just kind of go character by character here.
Sure.
And let's start with the man himself. I don't know why I started with Cillian Murphy other than I just love him, but let's start with Bruce / Batman. Christian Bale. Where does he rank? I know we talked about this a little bit. I have already forgotten because I've slept since then. Where does he rank on your Bruce Batman lists?
I mean, I thought he would be some kind of contender with Keaton for me, but it's not. I don't think it's close. I think he's number 1.
Yeah, he's number 1.
I think Christian Bale's number 1. Yeah.
Of both for me.
See, I'm torn because this is a way better movie than Batman and Robin.
Sure.
But I did make such a stink about how good of a Bruce Wayne Clooney is last week that I feel like to
So you're
back
saying
down
you don't
from
believe
that,
in it anymore, but you just refuse
double down.
to.
All right.
Yeah, I think I believe in it less, but I'm already committed to the cause, so I'm going to keep waving that flag.
Just specifically Bruce, though.
Specifically Bruce. Yeah, he's the best Batman that we've had, for sure.
For me, he's the best Bruce as well. I think he's the best written Bruce. That's not even debatable, I don't think. But he's the best written Bruce for sure. But I just think Christian Bale is, surprise, a great actor. And so when you give him good material to work with, he's gonna knock it out of the park. And he does here.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
I find him charming when he's playing up the billionaire playboy aspect of Bruce. I find him intensely sad almost always. This is a very melancholy Bruce.
I think it's almost hard to compare him to the other Bruces that we've had, though, because this is the first one that really treats Batman and Bruce like they're a character rather than just something for the villain to react against. You know what I mean? Like
is that canon?
What do you mean?
the melancholy, the I guess it's always an act when you're covering up the fact that you're somebody else. But like it does feel like, is leaning into playing the role of Bruce Wayne. Like what would you say in canon and like most comic books, is the identity found most in Batman or Bruce Wayne for the person?
Most in Batman,
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That Bruce Wayne is a tool that Batman uses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's actually
But I
a
think
whole
this is-
animated series episode where Batman has his mind wiped, or maybe like something happens. He's like hypnotized or something. Anyway, there's voices in his head, and he's going crazy. And when he's broken out, they say, essentially Robin asks him, like, how did you not fully succumb to what was happening to you? And he says, the voices in my head kept calling me Bruce. And Robin says, so? And he goes, I haven't called myself Bruce in years.
That's really cool.
I know. Kevin
Yeah,
Conroy
really
delivers
cool.
it with gravitas.
Yeah, I haven't
called myself Bruce in years.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
good.
Ooh, yeah, that's great. But I think this is the first script that actually spends time like figuring out what does Bruce want.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like gives Bruce a reason to exist and think and breathe. I think in the others that we've watched so far, Bruce exists only to stop the villain and to maybe solve the villain's mysteries, or you know what I mean? And this is the first one that
This
the
is
villain
a movie
is getting
about Batman.
This is the first one that the villain is getting in Bruce's way rather than the other way around.
Yep.
Great point.
If you're going to give Batman a non-secret identity sort of super-ish love interest, Rachel Dawes is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rachel Dawes is great.
Rachel Dawes is great, and Katie Holmes is great. And she's not somebody I really think about very often. I just haven't seen a lot of her work, honestly.
I guess we'll talk next week about which Rachel we prefer.
I already know my answer, but
Okay.
I'm a Maggie head. She's
think I am
related
too.
to my dog, you know?
That's true. That's very true. I think I was realizing this last night. I've never really, and maybe you guys Googled why they changed the pronunciation of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah,
to
I
Ra's.
didn't. It bothers me.
To Ra's al Ghul. I think it's because if Batman is screaming Ra's al Ghul and then screaming Rachel, sounds like he's screaming the same thing. Like phonetically, they're pretty similar.
You're just pulling
I
this
could
out
see
of
that.
thin air right now, or did you read
I'm
that?
just one. No, I didn't read it. I'm just
Gotcha.
saying I wonder if that's why.
Yeah.
Because phonetically, that like the character's always
Feels
been
like it
Ra's
maybe
al
would have
Ghul.
been better to just call her like Nicole or like change
Yeah.
the name of her.
He's like, no, it has to
It's got to
be
be
Rachel.
Rachel. It's definitely Rachel.
Must be.
I think that Rachel is really good. I love her being involved in the law. I love her having strong opinions. We don't talk a lot about the idea of the Bechdel test because I think that it's a flawed concept to begin with, because there's other ways to tell how a movie is. But I do like it as a conversation piece. And the Bechdel test basically says for a woman in a movie to have been well written, I'm paraphrasing, for a woman in a movie to be well written, she must have conversations and motivations that are not about a boy that she likes. And
Yeah.
Rachel is
I think the Bechdel test is specifically about conversations. Two women on screen must have a conversation that is about something other than a man.
it's
so this movie-
two women that have to have the
this movie. This movie doesn't pass that test, but I think that test is a pretty poor metric because we can. You're about to talk about how Rachel is a well-written character.
So that's what I was. I
Yeah.
did not realize that the one of the criteria
that's-
was two women specifically talking, but Rachel.
I think that's
herself-
why it's maybe not a great metric for is this a good movie or not.
Yeah. Rachel is, in my opinion, really well written with a lot of agency and a lot of her own desires that even eclipse her desire to be with the person that she is in love with. You know, she is not bowled over by obsession with Bruce Wayne. In fact, she chooses not to be with him because of him not lining up with her moral compass. I don't know. I really like Rachel. I think she's
too.
written really well, and I think Katie Holmes really knocks it out of the park. I think she's great.
Yeah, same. I had taken note of, especially since we've done so much Nolan and already liked him, but this is technically like his third well-known movie. He had done Memento and Insomnia before this, and you know the real ones out there could probably name a handful more that he did.
I
that were
forgot
maybe,
about Insomnia. I'm just remembering Al Pacino screaming "garbage bag."
Garbage.
So thank you.
It feels like this was the first time he had the budget to really have the ability to put together an ensemble cast.
Sure.
Like when I think about Nolan, he's got his players pretty consistently of what he
Michael
uses.
Caine.
And this feels like Keaton's always in there. And this feels like one of the first that we had for him to kind of have sweeping. He does a good job of having multiple characters. And I think it's fun that we're getting to talk through some of these. And of course, my favorite actor of all time is right here.
It's our next character we're about to talk
Here
about.
in I was already a Gary Oldman guy, and then he got cast in Batman, which was my favorite superhero, and I couldn't believe it. And he does such a good job.
He's
Speaking
so
of melancholy, him and Bruce are pretty similar character analysis in a way, outside of the different personalities. But it makes you wonder, is that why Bruce reaches out to him in terms of an acknowledgement of, I can tell you want something different.
This is our first live action Gordon who is anything like his character in the comics.
Who is recognizably Gordon, yeah.
And it's far more attractive, is it not?
It's
like
so
we
much
just
better.
kind of missed the mark. And it didn't have to be Gary Oldman. It just needed someone with agency.
But it had
Right?
to
We're
be
gonna
Gary
get
Oldman.
Jeffrey Wright in the Batman. It'll be fun as we
Gosh,
get
that's
closer.
such a good cast.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
great.
know. It's gonna be fun as we get closer to the Batman to kind of talk about these characters. We've seen iterations of them before.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be tough for me, especially as we see the growth of Commissioner Gordon is fun to follow in the trilogy in terms of seeing kind of who he becomes. And it's fun to kind of just see his rank go up, right? When we first meet him,
Yeah,
isn't
'cause
it
he's
just
lieutenant.
detective? And now it starts Detective Gordon, right? And then he's lieutenant. He gets a bump
He gets boosted
at the very
in this
end.
movie. Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, I think their relationship is so fun, and I forgot how much time we get with those two on screen of like being able to talk to each other.
This honestly feels like when it boils down to it that this trilogy mainly focuses on Bruce, Alfred, and Gordon. And that it's sort of there is an overarching story
That makes the most
through
sense to
the
me.
entire trilogy for all three of them.
That is our nucleus, right? Those were the same two actors in the first four movies randomly, right? Batman's the only thing that changes because they're supposed to be this triad of like these people that essentially are supporting each other and working together, ultimately supporting Bruce, but he has something to offer, obviously. But
Nolan has stated that the Long Halloween was a huge inspiration for the world of the Dark Knight trilogy. The plot itself is a huge inspiration for the Dark Knight itself, but the world here, Gotham as presented in the Long Halloween, is sort of reportedly what sold him on doing a Batman story, doing a Batman set of movies. And that comic basically begins with a focus on Batman, Harvey Dent, and Gordon as three men basically out to save Gotham. And I think Nolan is really, really interested in that of there is a way to save this city. There are three ways to save this city, or there are approaches on how to save this city and just tracking the different motivations because everybody sort of has the same recognition of Gotham is not the way that it should be. But the way this movie is able to give virtually every character a slightly different nuanced take on here's how Gotham should actually be.
Right.
yeah,
I think is what elevates this script above just being, another of the 1,000 superhero movies that we've gotten in the last 20 years into being an actually good movie.
Right.
does it feel like similar beats at all to Dunkirk?
Interesting. Can you expand
in
that
terms
for
of
me a little bit?
timelines? I'm just saying, like, I am fascinated with how fascinated Chris Nolan is with time.
Sure.
And looking at different narratives as they kind of play together, which is just good storytelling in general. But he really obviously does like cookie cutter versions of a plane that takes an hour, the boat ride that takes a day, and then we got the 7 days of being on land. But just having three, I guess three is just kind of common in a lot of things. But
No, it's interesting. I think, man, we've already done a whole.
I know
thing.
we did the thing.
And I get it.
I'm in my butt. I'm looking around. It's just
the
butt.
most movie bro thing to be like, Fight Club and The Dark Knight. I love both of those movies, and I think that they're the two. But you know what? These are good movies, man.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
They're awesome.
And especially by contrast, after because we watched, our recording schedule's a little wacky right now. We just have had to shuffle some stuff around because we have lives outside of podcasts. We still exist when you're not listening to an episode. I know that's
Believe it or
shocking.
not.
I know we don't live in your radio, but
Radio, grandpa.
well, in your car. Jeez, I'm not a
grandpa.
I'm not a grandpa. I'm a young man.
We're all flying now on our Channing Tatum wolf skates.
But anyway, had a very high concentration of bad Batman a week ago.
Yeah.
With Kilmer and Clooney. And so I think especially by contrast, like it's very easy to climb up my own butt because I'm trying to get somewhere warm from all the cold of all the bad Batmans.
And my butt seems like a better option.
I said earlier that this, Nolan's view of Batman changed the way that Bond was created, like reworked.
Yeah.
It's so similar because I get to sit here with you guys like reading the comics and stuff and be like, well, here he is. Like, here's Batman. My dad was a huge Ian Fleming fan and had read about James Bond his whole, young adulthood. And it's just been kind of like this over the top, trying to sell the gadgets, all that kind of stuff. And then finally it's someone who's intimidating and is layered and has issues and is a womanizer, like a bad one.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Yeah.
I love the correlation there.
Let's wrap up our character discussion of this first half with Sir Michael Caine's Alfred.
Was he not born to do this?
Wasn't he though?
Yeah, for real.
Never.
Okay, listen.
Never.
Listen. Michael Caine as Alfred is one of my favorite things about the Dark Knight trilogy.
Smell something.
No.
Big old dump coming.
No. I love him as Alfred. I think he's going to be my super pump for this movie. Him as Alfred is not my favorite thing about this movie, but he has earned that super pump by being my favorite Alfred, if that makes sense. Because there's definitely not going to be room to super pump him in The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight Rises.
Sure. You're making space where space can be found.
Exactly. If he escapes without a super pump, then I've not done a good job of respecting my favorite Alfred.
Sure.
But the fact that he is the kind of sarcastic, snippy Alfred that we see in the comics, like whenever he's talking about bringing the Bentley back with a full tank of gas.
Yes.
It is so warm and fatherly. The fact that he is basically a father to Bruce. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's such a good. I mean, it's Sir Michael Caine, so he's such a good actor.
Sure.
No one on earth could have done this better.
Elevate the phone book into a movie script that I would cry watching. But
yes,
he when given great material, a great actor is going to do something transcendent. And something about his Alfred feels like he could come off the screen and come into my living room and be immensely interested in what I did that day. Like, he's just such a warm presence.
And then
I don't know, it's
next
perfect.
movie to add on top of this. It's not my super pump, but I love Michael Caine pretty much always, even when he's Ebenezer Scrooge in the Muppets.
I think he was 72 in this movie.
That's crazy. Next movie, The Dark Knight, we get a taste of, oh wait, this Alfred is also the ex-Special Forces Alfred from the comics as well, with his story about Burma and everything that happened there. So
a ruby, a song, a tangerine.
We're finally here.
I know.
We've never actually reviewed.
That's like our most quoted line.
Playing with a ruby. No, I'm so excited about anytime Michael Caine is on my screen.
Absolutely.
We do also need to talk about Liam Neeson.
Ra's al Ghul. That's Ken Watanabe playing fake Ra's. I didn't realize that was him.
I didn't either.
He's back.
Yeah.
An old man filled with regret. Liam Neeson works for me. He's whatever. He's probably the most whatever big name.
Yeah. He's the most replaceable member of this cast, I think. Yeah.
Well, actually, clearly, Katie Holmes is the most replaceable member of the cast.
That's very true.
Yeah,
Big year for Liam Neeson, though, because he had this and Narnia. So
did he really?
Same name? Liam felt super appropriate for the delivery of. It felt like Nolan cast him because he's like, man, this character, half of the script is just providing lessons. And who better to relay a lesson than Qui-Gon? It's just like, I think he does a great job.
Sure.
I forget he's 6'5".
Yeah, he's a big
power
really?
gentleman. Yes.
Wow, I thought Christian Bale was like 5'9".
No, he's 6'5". And so when they had the scene, and help me, it's the what's the crew that get trained up?
League of Shadows.
League of Shadows.
They made a show called Arcane about that, Carter. You should watch that. I think
when they had them all together and he's trying to hide amidst the members of the League of Shadows.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone else is on a box.
Wait, really?
Yeah. He's 6'5".
Why didn't Bruce just attack the one that wasn't standing on a box? I don't get that.
I mean, it's like, can you imagine him putting that on and you just see like from Adam's apple up? He's like, well, I know where you are, dude.
The arm cut to disguise which one is him.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Just to deliver a second half of the episode teaser plays into my super pump for this movie. So, what could it be? What could it be? Now it is time for some shout outs. It's shout announcements, and it's happening in real time. It's definitely happening at the same time as Batman Begins, and not
the same day,
not
the same
about
people.
9 days
Yeah.
later. So don't even think that that's the case.
So don't think it's different because I
not.
promise it's not.
It's not. You're being crazy. That's called gaslighting.
You might notice that you've heard in the past at other points on our show 3 distinct voices, and now, as if by magic, there are only 2. That's because next week is 2 Chunks week, and Carter is hard at work in his podcast laboratory preparing something truly amazing, and he's actually at Disney World, but
A lot
I
of
did
people
want
are
to make it
saying
seem like
that
he was
Carter's
working
at
hard.
Disney World, and I want to set the record straight once and for all. He is at Disney World.
He is at Disney World, and so we're having 2 Chunks Day next week to hopefully convince him to come back.
Please come back
and return to this podcast. He said it was a priority, but then he went to Mickey's house instead.
Come on.
Next week for 2 Chunks Day. That will be February 22nd, 2022. If you were listening to this in real time, that day is all 2s, and everything that we do that day is for all yous. We got some cool stuff coming up, and we're gonna play it like a old school movie trailer, and we're not gonna tell you exactly what's happening because we want to generate some excitement and some mystery. So make sure you tune in next week for 2 Chunks Day, and we promise you won't regret it.
The other thing that you definitely won't regret is becoming a patron of our show. Look, there's 2 delicious tiers to our Patreon. Number 1, for $3 a month, you're going to go ahead and get access to bonus episodes of our podcast. That's right. If you like this, there's more where that came from. And for the price of, let's face it, now a tall coffee at Starbucks, thanks inflation, you can have access to all of those bonus episodes, as well as an extra vote in any voting series. And let me tell you, that has turned the tides several times. Looking at you, Hereditary. So thank you so much for that, patrons. We also have a second tier of our Patreon that you can jump into at $5 a month. You can hop into our Discord where we're having all kinds of chats. Right now, it's a lot of Wordle content. A whole lot of Wordle content.
It's a lot of Wordle and then the various sons and daughters of Wordle, like Absurdle, Chordle, Loodle. There's another one that I keep
touched
seeing.
any of them. I haven't touched
What's
any.
the math one? Nerdle?
Is that Nerdle?
Nerdle's the math one. Yeah. The only other one I've done is Chordle, and it was very hard, so I only did it once.
Look, I can only commit to one thing that stresses me out about making sure I know how words work. So I can't really branch out to the other things. It's got to be Wordle and nothing else. But there's a lot of good Wordle content, some other gaming content, as well as tons of movie
it's not
discussion.
just Wordle.
Yeah, there's other stuff. There's movie discussion. We're talking about Boba Fett a lot on the old Discord. There's a ton of relevant discussion, as well as just check-ins. How you doing? How's everybody doing? Did everybody's mom not let them watch SpongeBob when they were a kid? That's a conversation we just had recently. So if that sounds enticing to you, I would invite you to become a patron. And last, please, share our show with friends. Send this episode. Everybody loves Batman. Everybody loves the Dark Knight trilogy. Send it to your friends. They want to hear it probably, maybe, I hope. Send it their way. I love you.
Mwah.
Now is the perfect time to work at Amazon. They are offering hourly jobs with great pay and even include a large sign-on bonus. No matter where you're at in the job market, you can select from a variety of available roles in your area. Join an exciting work environment and be part of a team that brings smiles to customers every day. To find the job that works for you and some extra cash, go to amazon.com/apply. That's amazon.com/apply. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Some
places have low prices, but at Kroger, we go lower than low on food that's fresher than fresh. Like juicy clementines, salad greens, and your favorite cuts of chicken. That's because the Kroger app gives you more ways to save. You get personalized coupons on top of weekly sales, plus rewards like fuel points for prices that are even lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
So are we just jumping into the second half?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Carter, don't do that. Carter, don't be that way.
What do you need that for, Mr. Wine?
I can't wait until we get to The Dark Knight Rises so we can talk about how Ben Mendelsohn says, "Can we get some girls in here? Can we get some girls in here?"
Friend here is asking for some girls, Mr. Wine.
Hey, that's
Get some girls in here, Mr.
Are we
Wine.
accidentally in the episode?
Accidentally in the episode.
I'm going to talk about my super pump.
Oh, do it, I guess.
Fine.
Christopher Nolan, beginning in Batman Begins, brings something to Batman that we haven't seen really, I don't think up to this point ever. Comics, cartoons, other movies, anything.
No nipples.
No nipples. Nippleless.
Yeah.
So my super pump is the lack of nipples. No, I'm going to talk about one scene in particular.
Sparks.
I'm going to talk about one scene.
Hey, hang on. I bet there's not a nipple in any single one of his books.
Nicholas
accurate.
Sparks?
Nippleless Sparks?
Dude, I bet there's nipples like crazy, dog.
Do you think the word nipple appears on print in a Nicholas Sparks novel at any time?
No, I bet he would refer to it as something else. He would use a euphemism.
Yeah.
When Ra's al Ghul and Batman are fighting in the elevated train heading to Wayne Tower, right before Batman says, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you, and then opens his wings and shoots out the back of the train.
Mm-hmm.
As it was heading towards that scene, I found myself thinking, you know what? That wouldn't work like that. There wouldn't be airflow through the train that would pick up.
Wait, this is your pump or dump?
Let me get there. There wouldn't be airflow through the train that would let the cape catch the wind. And then, as I'm in the middle of that thought, he throws a batarang through the window to create airflow so that when he opens his cape, he shoots out the back. My super pump is the realism and explanation for every single thing
I give you this.
given to Batman.
Yes.
His suit, here's what it's made out of, here's why it exists, and here's why you can have it.
Amazing.
His Batmobile, here's what it's made out of, here's why it exists, and here's why you can have it.
Does it come in black?
Right. His ears, that's where the antenna is. His Batmobile has all these capabilities because it's supposed to make bridges in rough terrain. He has all of these toys and gizmos because the greatest to me is the run a current through the memory fabric. Yes.
And it becomes rigid and can take any form you've already specified.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a level of grounded realism we've never seen in a superhero movie up to that point, and really not since.
I think it's been attempted since. I don't think it's been successfully replicated. It calls to mind where Peter Parker got his glasses in The Amazing Spider-Man, where it's like that is cut from the same memory cloth as the things that you're talking about, but it doesn't work.
I just think that the additional flavor added by the seasoning of realism, giving me reasons, giving me explanations, giving me backstory, giving me why this thing is happening, makes Batman feel so complete and so yeah, okay, that makes sense. Let's go hit people. Now, here's my super dump. The exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because this is the catch-22 that Nolan has created in his Dark Knight universe. When you ground everything, give it an explanation, and give it realism, it makes the over-the-top moments a little harder to swallow. And I still love them.
Even more.
I don't actually have beef watching these over-the-top moments because I love superheroes and all this stuff. But if you're going to ground everything in reality, the moments where a microwave emitter is going to poison people but not boil their blood and kill them in explosions as it drives past them, the moments that you have Bruce Wayne catching a full-grown man with just essentially the bones in his elbow and wrist. Do you get what I'm saying? These are things I wouldn't pick apart if we hadn't grounded everything else.
If you hadn't been encouraged to pick apart everything else. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like the movie spends all this time going, and here's why this works, and here's why you should be okay with it, and here's why this works, and here's the explanation for this, and yada, yada, which I love. But at the same time, it makes me go, well, then why didn't his arm shatter when he caught Ra's al Ghul falling off the cliff? Why didn't everybody in Gotham explode into pink mist when a military-grade microwave lit up half the city? Like, there's all these different things, and there's a little bit of, like, in my opinion, you kind of can't have it both ways, which I'm talking out of my butt here because I'm definitely going to let him have it both ways.
Sure. What are you going to do about it?
These movies, they're awesome.
Yeah.
All three movies are so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just found myself in the more over-the-top moments being like, man, I don't know that I would even think twice about this if I wasn't given a reason why the ears were tall.
Yeah.
If it wasn't like, and this bodysuit was made for super soldiers. It cost $300,000 and the military didn't want it, but you can want it because you're a billionaire and it's not that bad. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I have such complicated feelings about it because I love it and hate it.
Yeah.
Thus, the pump dump.
The old pump dump.
Those are rare.
They are rare.
My super dump is at the end as well.
Okay.
I feel there was, between the moment that we find out that what our machine is going to be used for around that time, and then up until the train scene, it felt like this third act when they're in the Narrows, I think. The Narrows were shot in such a way, and it could have been intentional. Of course, it was supposed to be kind of hard to follow because maybe as the watcher, you have to have a little bit of the disorientation that someone might have of if everything's a little scarier now.
Sure.
It's a little bit skewed. But I think the Narrows were confusing to me in a way I don't think that they were intended to be.
The Narrows
as a set, they are very Burton, but it did feel outside of the rest of the movie.
Sure.
It felt like we jumped onto a one-act stage for the Narrows, for those scenes.
Like you're on the set of Rent or something. Everybody's hanging out on fire escapes.
And
Batman saves Joffrey. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Joffrey, of all people, he's the reason.
And just gives him a military-grade grappling hook, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. And the movie cost a lot of money. This was huge for Nolan to get this kind of budget, but someone was making the right move. $150 million budget for him to kind of jump into this. And he's just done Memento and Insomnia. Yeah. And now he gets $150 million.
Somebody saw
and obviously
something.
He never looks back. Every movie he makes from then on is making that much or more or double sometimes.
Yeah.
But he ends up making $375 million on this movie.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just with the $150 million, my super dump is, I love that we got a borough of Gotham, and I think we might have lost an opportunity to make it memorable. The Narrows, to me, are just very tunnel vision, and I don't have anything outside of that makes the world feel bigger, and they could have done that.
I like that. I actually agree a lot with that. I feel like there could have been a lot more character to the Narrows.
Yeah. Like Gotham already being a seedy place that an entire league wants to destroy because of how awful the people are. So what do you call the deepest, darkest parts of it? And they could have done so much better, I think.
There is something I love so much about some shady mobsters club being like, it's like almost underground. It's like there's a street and then there's another street under that street.
It's Lower Gotham.
Yeah.
Right? I don't remember if Lower Gotham is from the Arkham series or from New 52 or if that's our thing that's been around for a while. But Lower Gotham is the first Gotham city that then the rich built a city on top of it that's Upper Gotham.
I love it very much.
Reminds me very much of Piltover and Zahn. You know, am I right?
Totally very much like Piltover and Zahn. In fact, I found myself waiting around most of the time for Haley Steinfeld to appear and to save so many other people and fight her sister.
Is this a similar? Does this occupy?
Y'all both watched it.
I have finished it. I liked it. I'm just dunking on you.
I've been trying to ask you guys this question because I care about your answer, but you don't care enough about me to let me finish it.
I'm sorry. We've really picked on
No,
you
he's
this
right,
time.
though.
Does this movie occupy a similar position on the career trajectory graph for Christopher Nolan as Batman and Robin does for George Clooney, as Batman Forever does for Val Kilmer?
For
in that
position, not reason.
Position, not reason.
Okay,
in that
interesting.
this is the thing that's kind of their gateway into being
Yes.
a capital
I'm
B,
answering
capital
yes.
T big thing.
I'm answering yes.
Not for Kilmer.
Okay.
I would say for
Clooney
sure for
and
Clooney.
Keaton.
For sure for Clooney and for sure for Keaton.
Yeah, this feels like the
Yeah.
movie.
There's a lot of eyes on iconic
Yeah.
American comic book characters.
Sure.
There are a lot of directors
Yeah.
that take
That's
big, soulless blockbusters so that they can make money and get their name out so they can make the thing they want to make. Christopher Nolan is one of those who was able to make a big blockbuster that had soul, story, purpose. Like, he got to have both.
Sure.
His cake got ate.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. And you can see, when I think of someone who, and he's probably somewhere in the middle when we talk about ages of some more prolific directors that are doing work right now. And he reminds me in some ways of Denis Villeneuve, of just having this reworking something. Nolan, before the movie started, had everyone watch Blade Runner, the old Blade Runner, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, and said, this will be how we make this movie. And I thought that was fascinating because I'd never compared the two, but there are
The cities
moments.
feel similar.
Yeah.
The cities feel very similar. Yeah. And that was ultimately a lot of what their Gotham looked like.
You saw that he
But-
personally oversaw every shot of this movie. There was no second unit on this movie. So Nolan
Amazing.
is there directing every actor in every scene of
I
this
can
movie.
imagine pretty easily a world where
Dumb.
Nolan is a nightmare to work with, but dang it,
Sure.
the man gets the job done.
Sure.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did we talk about Morgan Freeman? Like, have we talked
No,
about
let's
all
talk
our-
about
We didn't talk about Lucius
Some of our bigger
Fox. We
characters?
forgot about Lucius Fox when we were doing our
Lucius
character by character
Fox?
thing.
This is the first time. So for there to be so many Batman, right?
Yeah.
Lucius Fox is fresh and new. So was Scarecrow. And that was a smart move. And Ra's al
Was
Ghul.
Fox created for the trilogy?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm
But yeah,
not 100% sure. I don't think
I
so.
know he exists in other Batman media. I just couldn't remember if it was as a result of this.
yeah. Just loved how Nolan's intro into a very
First
familiar
appearance.
place.
When did this come out? Batman Begins?
05?
2005.
Oh, okay, yeah. So his first appearance was in 1979.
So a little
this
bit before.
Is a little before.
His intro to a very familiar place for people, right? There's a lot of Batman content out there. To go ahead and shoot his shot with three relatively, like if you were watching the animated series, you would watch my favorite iteration of Scarecrow. But like, he's just going in and giving us like Fox and Scarecrow and just a bunch of like, I don't know. I just thought it was so smart.
Oh,
because
Batman the Animated Series is your favorite iteration of Scarecrow? Is that what you're saying? Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
yeah. But I'm saying like it just looks. I think it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I think
hat.
it's so fun. Yeah.
By the
hat
way, it's Arkham for me is my favorite iteration of Scarecrow. Like, bar
I
none.
don't know enough about the
Mhm.
game. Yeah, I don't know enough about that to know that.
Funny that you should mention
But-
Arkham. I forgot Arkham Asylum was in this movie.
I know.
At all. It's almost it was almost a super dump for me. That is in a Batman world where everything is pretty different but still recognizable. Arkham is very nearly not recognizably Arkham Asylum.
Just looks like a normal penitentiary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's something about taking the gothic element away from Arkham Asylum that to me makes it less recognizably Arkham Asylum.
Okay.
Making it a big
agree
square high rise does not look like Arkham Asylum to me.
I agree.
Another note on Fox for me, having the character of Fox is such a clever world builder because we've never had as intimate of a look of Wayne Enterprises
Right.
until this movie.
Right.
Of how it functions, of who's in charge, the power struggle. Who do we just kind of have in the background? We gave them something to play with because we took away most of their power. Like his story, I just feel like Nolan was so incredibly thoughtful with our main cast
To
members.
give Batman a Q,
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
which I'm
Yes.
now, I guess, realizing was in the comics well before this, but still, Batman having a Q type figure who's like, try to bring it back in one piece. Like, it's so
Yeah.
good, dude.
Yeah.
And-
very great.
I mean, it's just, their relationship is very fun. Like, if you don't answer honestly, then I don't have to lie if I'm ever asked about it. I just love it all. It's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, obviously, it feels like nobody could have played this as well. I'm sure there are other actors who auditioned for the role who would have done a great job. But something
Nolan
about,
sometimes doesn't do that, right?
Something
He
about the
knows and asks them.
warmth of this role. Like Bruce is surrounded in this movie by people who could be a father to him.
Goosebumps. This was a great campfire.
Yeah.
Like
This is a good campfire, Carter.
It really
Kane
is.
Oldman and Morgan
We're
Freeman.
going to talk so much more about Gary Oldman. I promise. The Dark Knight is as much Gary Oldman's movie as it is anyone else's, in my opinion.
This is the least
true. But
This is the least Gary Oldman, and I think I'm not saying he does a bad job. This is the least good job that Gary Oldman does.
I agree.
In
No,
these
we're
movies.
going to talk more.
agree
I just
too.
didn't want the episode to end without saying, like, Gary Oldman is perfect as Gordon. I think that future iterations of Gordon looked to Gary Oldman for both aesthetics and general vibe, just as much as future iterations of Iron Man looked to Robert Downey Jr.
I would go toe to toe with anyone that would argue that Gary Oldman is not the most malleable actor of our generation.
And also so unbelievably likable.
Yeah.
This is a man who can play Sirius Black. He can play Commissioner Gordon. And those are the only two things I've ever seen him in, but I like him. No, man, I just think every time Gary Oldman is on a screen, he has chemistry with me watching. He has chemistry with everyone with him. He is so likable and in the universe that he is in. And I assume that's what you mean by malleable. Just like when Gary Oldman's in a movie, it's like, oh yeah, no, he lives there.
Right. I could show up to Gotham when the cameras are not rolling and find Gary Oldman at his desk doing
paperwork 100%.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Gary Oldman is when people hear that he's my favorite actor, it is normally like they can name a couple things, but then he's probably in 5 or 6 movies and you didn't realize it, right? It's just because he's so in it. I love it.
Spectacular.
I love it.
Spectacular. It is.
I do need to super dump.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's not. Don't try to rate this movie. I haven't super dumped.
It is.
He wasn't going to
It actually is time, but I'm going to let you do the thing you should have already done.
I'm just trying to give my
Did you hear how
friends a space
podcasty
to
my
talk
voice
about
got
their
at the
stuff.
end of that sentence?
Yeah.
Already done.
I'm just trying to give my friends time to do the things they'd like to do.
Bird aptly.
And my
Say what you
super-
have to say, Mr. Wine.
It is time for my super dump. And that is my least favorite thing about the movie. And it is this. I don't have to kill you, but I'm not going to save you. That's still killing.
Is it?
You think so?
That's still killing.
Is it? I'm going to actually hard disagree with you here, Dozier. Ooh.
That's still killing.
Is it?
If I drive a car and you walk onto the road in front of me and I say, I don't have to push the gas, but I'm not going to push the brake. Do I kill you?
No, that's different. I feel like that's different.
How?
I feel like it's more like if you try and hit me with your car, I dodge you trying to hit me with your car and then don't pull you from the burning wreckage.
That's still killing.
I was going to say, ultimately, the car is the weapon that you are in complete control of.
Okay.
But you could probably also argue that to an extent.
Guns don't kill people.
The trajectory of that train.
Right. That's what you guys are telling me right now.
No, I hear your argument.
Because Batman is in control of whether Ra's al Ghul stays on the train or not, right?
And
And he chooses to leave him on the train and he kills him.
I hear your argument and I disagree with it, but I allow it.
It
My
doesn't
favorite part was when
It doesn't bother me, except for the fact that the movie makes a big deal about Batman not... Like, if Batman had just done that, it doesn't bother me as much as presenting it as some... Batman's a genius who figured out a loophole to the I don't want to kill you code.
Dude, I can just put people in danger and leave them alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have to kill you, but I am going to drop you in the mouth of this volcano. I won't kill you, the lava will.
he's like, and then Ra's al Ghul's like, how could you do this? I helped you develop a particular set of skills.
And then there's like a 50 cut shot of him jumping over a chain link fence. I do want to talk about, before we go to the rating, I do want to talk about our teaser at the end. Because here's, and I don't want to, I don't want to.
The Yolker.
I don't want to wax
Big summer blowout.
too romantic about Nolan, The Dark Knight, anything. I don't.
That's for something else.
It's for next week.
This is Batman Begins
I hear
time.
you, but listen.
We're falling into the same trap that when we go back and watch these, we can skip big Batman Begins. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I
skip it.
But what I'm saying is,
Be careful.
it is crazy to watch Gary Oldman pull the Ziploc bag with a Joker card in it at the end of Batman Begins with
Could tell you where I was.
with the knowledge now of what was going to happen.
What was coming? Are you
But
kidding me?
they didn't know when they pulled the
Yeah,
Joker
they had no
card
idea.
at the. I mean, and I know that's like, duh, that's how time works. I get it, but it is crazy to think
Wild.
that they are calling their shot like Babe Ruth, and then what? 3 years later, 2008.
It's calling a shot within calling a shot within
Oh
calling
my
a shot. Even who we're using is
gosh.
calling a shot.
Absolutely.
Wait, you're talking about
because
you're
the
talking about
second
the Knight's Tale guy?
the
The guy from
second
10
that
Things I Hate About You.
the Brokeback Mountain guy, the second that card is on screen, everybody in the theater is thinking about Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
And going, there's no
Yeah.
way they're going to be better than
Dude,
Jack.
such a good point. Or even Hamill at this point, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
The animated version of that.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing that's going to happen
That's
if
great.
Matt Reeves tries to do the Joker. We're all going to think Heath immediately.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to think
100%
Jared
you're
Leto,
trying.
but you guys can think
Dude,
Heath if you
he's so
want to.
damaged. That's what I love about
There's
him.
something so twisted about mailing a condom to your co-stars.
Did he do
What
that?
a classic Joker move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used, right?
Yeah, used. Yeah.
Dude, that's like
You
diseases.
don't know. It's funny though, dude.
No, that's
it's funny.
diseases.
It's a joke, dude.
Dude.
Chill.
Jared Leto, I hate that he's a good actor because I hate him, but he's a good
Right.
actor. Sucks. That's how I feel about Little Caesars. I don't want it to be good.
It's not. They don't claim to be good. They claim to be hot and they claim
I'm
to be
so
ready.
glad you brought this up. Have y'all seen the Batman calzony at Little
Excuse
Caesars?
me?
What? What?
Little Caesars has something
Also,
called,
hey,
by the way,
hey, calzone?
no, it's spelt with a Y. It's been meant to be called the
Like
calzone.
Falcone. I like calzones. I'm not afraid to say it.
I think calzones are maybe superior in terms of portability to
Okay,
pizza.
Ben Wyatt, relax.
No, they're
Listen.
stop.
Listen, Little Caesars, literally all they have done, someone accidentally folded two ends of a pizza and said, you know what?
No.
It kind of looks like
Oh no. Hey, here's the deal though. We're looking on probably a pretty snowy, icy time for
That
us
sounds
over the next couple of days.
amazing.
I'm gonna have to get me one of those. I'm gonna walk to Little Caesars if I
Hey,
have
can
to.
I tell you?
No different.
I've been eating
different than a
pretty good
pepperoni
over the
pizza.
last like couple weeks. All bets are completely off for the next couple of days during
Exactly.
this ice.
I'm the
I
exact
guess
same
this
way.
is the part where we reveal that we are recording this way in advance of release.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
It's gonna
It is
be
February 2nd while we record this.
It's going to be pretty cold, pretty icy, and as far as my dietary needs and desires, they are one and the same this weekend.
It's out of control. My farewell to eating kindly is a sous vide chuck roast that I've been working on for about 24 hours. I'm gonna eat as soon as we're done recording this.
I got a lasagna
Nice.
in the oven literally right now.
and then it's time to get nasty on it. I'm not trying
Having
to.
some
If it's snowy, I'm not trying to eat
Moroccan
well.
salmon
Ooh,
and
Can I tell you?
farro.
Look,
this
this
like
is
that would Morocco my world.
this is the part of the episode where people like just get to the end already. But can I tell you something about me with fish? I got a weird thing with it.
You don't like it.
No, I do very much raw or fried or shell.
Shell.
So I like sushi. I like raw
Shellfish.
fish.
Oh.
I like fried fish, and I like any form of shellfish.
grilled or baked. Absent from that list.
Cooked, just like swimming fish that's not shellfish, I really struggle with. And I'm trying to like it because it's like objectively the most healthy form of protein you can eat.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to learn to love the cedar plank salmon, right? I'm trying to learn to love the grilled ahi tuna. Is that a thing? I don't know. I just,
Yes,
Yeah.
sounds like it.
I'm struggling with it, but I'm learning.
What will help you is some fish tacos.
Now, I do love a fish taco,
Because you can do a fish taco with baked fish at home
but
and put
why would
enough
I?
cheese.
Why would I do that?
But
'Cause
you
I'd
can put
rather
enough
have a
cheese
fried
and-
fish taco.
Sure, everybody would rather have fried stuff, but if we go around eating fried stuff all the time, then I'm going to be a circle. And I'm not going to be a human-shaped boy. I'm going to be a circle-shaped boy. And I need to eat baked stuff sometimes. So do fish taco, and then you can drown it. You can cover it up with like coleslaw and a taco sauce and a cheese.
I do love-
You don't taste the fish as
I
much.
do love a coleslaw. I really do. It's time to rate this movie. And we're going to do that using science, the same science that tells us that baked fish is objectively the last place fish. Now, the best thing we could ever say about a movie, sorry, scientific cinema scale, I'm supposed to say that. The best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it. Don't lend it.
Buy that poster.
The next best thing is buy it. After that is Rent It. That's followed by Stream It, and then Forget It. And the last one on the list, man, I lost trajectory there. The last thing on the list, it's the worst one that we could say, certainly. And then the sound clip goes there.
God hath forsaken us.
I am surprised that I didn't think I would buy this poster. After watching this movie, there's not enough in here for me to not think this is a very incredibly well-made
Didn't
movie.
Batman Begins get buried? Didn't it, though?
Yeah, it absolutely did.
I buy the poster, and I'm always someone who gives a little extra oomph. This little sticky tack on the back of those corners once I see something that influenced something else. And so for this to be the first stab at it from Nolan, I buy the poster for this movie.
So I thought I was going to buy it because I just already know that I'm buying the poster next week. Spoiler alert. I mean, it's just happening. It definitely is.
Yeah.
And so
it's The Dark Knight and we're film bros. So.
Yeah, it's definitely happening. And so I was like, I got to buy Batman Begins so that The Dark Knight means something when I buy the poster. Dang it, I'm buying the poster for Batman Begins. It's a good Batman movie. I really enjoy it. And Carter, same thing. It is the, here's a word for you. It is the progenitor of the next two movies that really take it and sprint with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a poster, and I didn't struggle that much.
Yeah, you could have had the next two movies be received so well if we didn't have an entire hour of getting to know Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And when I started this movie, by the way, in my head, I was like, I already know my Superdumb's going to be how much time we spend with Bruce before he's Batman. Wrong. I was wrong.
No way.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's MSG. It's the flavor. It's the umami.
It's the ooh daddy because I'm buying the poster as well.
Are you? Okay, very good.
Do we lose credibility as a movie podcast if we're just like we're gonna give good reviews and then we're buying posters all around for Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy?
I got bad news for you, my dear friend.
We don't got credibility.
We got
to
no
lose.
credibility to lose because we are indiscernible.
Yeah, that's true.
In our ratings.
That's a good point.
It's all about how I feel behind the microphone.
It's how I feel right now.
Yep.
Yeah. I bought Batman and Robin.
You did.
So no one cares what I think at this point, but I'll buy the poster.
You heard it here. Batman Begins, one exact ranking above Batman and Robin.
Doge likes it just a tiny bit better than Batman and Robin.
Wow.
Which is the most he can like something legally?
I know that it's a little played out to make this reference, but the scientific cinema scale is a little like the points from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
It's how I feel right now as we are recording.
Sure.
As evidenced by how many times one of us has been like, well, dang it, my rating changed.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's okay. Listen, next week we will be reviewing the film broiest movie. And I'm not even going to apologize for it. It's The Dark Knight. Please look forward to it because as we have accidentally slipped out of the time stream, there are roughly 16 real calendar days between right now and when I will watch The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
and
it'll be a minute.
I am devastated that I'm not watching The Dark Knight tonight. The only thing stopping me is I know that if I'm like, I go watch it twice, that I won't watch it the second time and my discussion will be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that.
So
I've never seen it. I'm excited to be my first
I think you're gonna like it. It's about as good as like Fight Club, The Usual Suspects.
Will I like it more than Batman and Robin or about the same?
It's not as good. It's the story isn't as tight. The performances aren't as elevated as Batman and Robin, but I still think you're gonna enjoy it. Did I, by the way, podcast audience, if I haven't said this, I watched Brokeback Mountain about 6 months ago.
I think you did say it.
Movie slaps. Absolutely owns.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So you think Heath Ledger's like a good actor or something?
I'm gonna be the first one to say it that I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger are pretty good actors.
I just can't. That's shocking.
To end today's episode, I would like for each of us to say our names, and I might be popping this one off a little early in the Nolan trilogy, but say which Batman villain we wish Nolan had taken a crack at. For 2 Chunks and a Hunk, I'm Jordan Wonders. And I am going to go with Hush. I really think that a Nolan Hush would have been pretty outstanding.
I'm Doge. I think a Chris Nolan directed Professor Pig would be the scariest single thing I could see on my screen.
That's actually too scary for me to even reflect on.
Yeah, that'd be pretty frightening.
Hold up. I'm Carter, and I'm going to say the Royal Flush Gang.
Ooh.
That would be super fun.
I think that would be a lot of fun.
That would be really fun.
And like the teases of like finding out who signs on
Yeah.
to be each member of the Royal Flush would be so fun.
Pull.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Well. Hey, Batman's good.
Yeah. The Batman bad guys? Pretty cool.
Pretty good, actually.
Go grab a Batman calzony at Little Caesars.
I want it so bad right now.
Hey, listen to me. Mark my words. I will be doing that before the next time we record. And I will.
Can you let me know?
I'll start our episode with a review of the Batman calzony.
Hold on. I can feel, ethereally, the theme song building up underneath as I'm talking. I don't know where the closest Little Caesars is to me, and I'm about to cry about it.
Little Caesars, the Batman calzony gets its own teaser trailer.
There is one.
It's not just a pizza, it's a Batman calzony. Try one for yourself, and don't forget to go see the Batman only in theaters March 4th.
Hey, there's a Little Caesars pretty close to me.
There is a Little Caesars less than 1 minute from my house.
Wait.
I will be eating the Batman calzony before the next time we record.
Oh, my Lord and shining stars. There's a Little Caesars. I could definitely walk to this.
Hey, Carter, will you eat the Batman calzony before the next time we record? Carter, will you eat the Batman calzony before the next time we record?
I'm committing to it. I'm going to eat the Little Caesars calzone before the next time we record.
I Doge, will eat the Batman calzone before the next time you hear my voice.
I, Jordan Patrick Wonders, will eat the Little Caesars calzone before the next time we record.
Carter
stopped recording.
Love getting prices that are lower than low on food that's fresher than fresh? Then shop at Kroger. We give you more ways to save on the fresh you love with tools like the Kroger app, where you can find personalized coupons on top of weekly sales, giving you prices that are lower than the everyday low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get more ways to save at the Buy 5 or More Save $1 each sale. Just buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.